And now, you could hold my mage staff. How exactly will we come to her aid? And how exactly will we stop the fracking? Well, I call on the spirits of those past to come and join this fight, and in doing so, to array such an army against those who would frack. This I am about to recite is the King's Curse. The first time a Druid curse was used in public since Roman times was the King's Curse. It was used by me to unify the red and the white dragon, and it was used at what was called Camp Bling in Southend, and guess what? We won that one. Anyone who would frack, anyone who would dig in and fracture the mother, fear, thou shalt not pass, and the Druid curse be upon you. I call on those who fought for this land where we now stand. I call them now in death to join us and stand firm to protect this land. Not against tyranny and oppression as they did in life, not against invasion, but against two twin enemies. The twin enemies of greed and ignorance, and I call them in now to aid us in stopping this. I call you Egbert, I call you Ethelwolf, I call you Ethelbald, I call you Ethelbert, I call you Ethelred, Alfred, Edward, Athelstan, Edmund, Edry, Edward, Edgar, Edward the Martyr, Ethelred the Unready, and Edmund Ironside. I call the Danes Canute, Harold, and Hardy Canute. The West Saxons restored to these lands, I call you also Edward and Harold. I call the Normans William, Henry and Stephen. I call Henry, Richard, John, Henry, Edward, and Richard. I call Henry, and Henry. I call you by name. I call Edward, and Richard. I call Henry, Edward, Mary, and Elizabeth I. I call James. I call Charles, I call James, I call William and Mary to aid us in this fight, and Anne. I call George. I call George. I call George. I call George. I call William. I call Victoria. I call Edward. I call George, Edward, George, and I call on Queen Elizabeth II, her heirs and successors, to protect this land and to stop those who would frack, to stop this assault on our mother. And I say to those who would, fear, thou shalt not pass. So mote it be.
So mote it be.